RFP Money Story podcast, a space for sharing real money stories and where we dive into real conversations about finance, success, and the lessons learned along the way. So today we have a registered financial planner with over 20 years experience in helping people protect their income and preserve their accumulated wealth. Everyone, we are excited to welcome our very first guest, Mr. Edison Dy-Ong.
Yeah. Good afternoon,
Good
good evening,
afternoon.
good morning, wherever you're listening.
Hello, sir. So, first of all, we would like to thank you for pagiging guest ng aming first online show podcast. So, Mr. Edison Ong, can you share with us your personal money journey and financial mindset? Like, what's your first memory of money and how did it shape your financial mindset?
My first, the first time I started earning money was through photography. It was, aside from photography services, I was earning from the prints that the clients would order. So instead of, I would charge them actually the actual rate of per print, no? But what I did was to negotiate with the print shop or that if they're going to give me discounts. So what they would do, the usual, they would issue the actual price so that I can reimburse. But actually, behind that, the shop would give me maybe a 10% or a 20% discount. So I made a little profit out of that, and that's how I started to appreciate savings. And eventually, I was able to buy my own camera, and it became a profession at that time. Kasi in the early days, when you just take pictures, you're still an amateur unless or until you are able to charge with a fee. So in technically open close quotation, I became a professional photographer because I was earning money off the services. So that's my and then eventually when I had a job, the first thing I did was not to work for corporate, but work for NGOs, mga non-profit organizations, so that and then at that time the little savings that I had, I would put it in open a bank account. During those days, it was encouraged. Lalo na when I was still in high school, there was this bank that they had parang Kiddie Savers Bank. So I would also open an account at that time. But then, you know, what happens in the bank industry, in the finance industry, banks become bankrupt. They're merged, they're acquired, and eventually, you also have cases of bank run. So unfortunately, those happened to several of the banks that I opened. So first, it was taken over, and then when the new bank took over, it was bought by another bank, and then eventually that bank had a bank run, yung mga ganon. So those are my memories of money during my childhood days.
So, ever since you were a child, you love saving money talaga?
Not really. I started saving when I started earning. Yun. But at that time kasi, when we were still studying, I would work on summers for my tuition. So as a Chinoy, diba, the practice then at the Chinoy then in my generation was if your family has a business, your father has a business, you work for your parents. So in some cases they work every day in the shop of their parents. But in the case of my siblings, we work on summers to earn our keeps so that we will be able to go to school, have our tuition, have our allowances. And we were also fortunate to apply for scholarship, financial scholarship. So that was a big help because we were a big family, and my father could not really afford to pay the tuition for everyone. So we had to be diligent. Yung ganun.
So growing up, nag-self-support kayo for your
Yeah,
ever
in a
since.
sense, we were not touching money. It was work for food. You call that sa mga NGO terms, diba, mga non-profit or mga foundations. You call that work for food, parang ganon. So you work so that when the day comes, you need to spend for something, you don't really need to have money because someone is already sponsoring you. May benefactor ka ba? Yung ganon. So I was raised up in that environment. Yung merong nagpapadrino, merong nag-sponsor. So maghahanap ka lagi. So ganun, mangyari yun, you will be diligent to look for them, di ba? Yun.
So, growing up, ever since, way back na nag-invest kayo sa camera for your photography passion and working during your studies, during your
Yung mga first
college.
job na yun, mga
Yeah,
first job
okay.
ko.
And then yung first NGO work nyo. So, growing up, you were saving money. So, what were some financial lessons you learned or wish you had learned about?
At that time, I wasn't aware of mga interest yung mga compound, di ba? Compound interest. All I know was basta save for a rainy day, ganun lang. And then always save because you want to buy something. So that was just the very basic idea behind saving. Not saving for a long term, but saving to be able to buy something that you can use to produce money. Yung ganun na to. So eventually, para ka rin na lang nagbi-business na. It's like yun, di ba? You have initial capital. But in the case of business, you use that money as an investment to make profit. Sa akin naman, in my case, I use my saving to buy something so that in this case, a camera, so a better camera, so that I can render a service that can generate money. So it's a different concept of savings and interest.
I see. So, um, ever since na nagsasave ka, you mentioned a while ago na while you're saving, bumibili ka ng mga asset mo na pwede mong magamit in the future
Yeah, tama.
for your
Oo.
passion.
Pang-asset. So,
Okay, so have you ever experienced a financial turning point that changed how you manage money since you're not that familiar in interest rates?
lesson learned in savings, be careful. Kasi you never know that the bank that you're putting your money in might go bankrupt. So that was really, I think I had experienced twice na, two banks that had gone bankrupt. All because I thought, hey, this bank is growing. It's being acquired. There's merger. There's international infusion. May mga ganun, di ba? Of course, we were not familiar kasi with the banking system at that time. All we know is just put your money in the bank, let it grow. You can deposit, withdraw. But the reality is anything can happen in the financial world. Like in this case, it can go bankrupt. And worst case scenario is, this is what I call money in limbo. Yung limbo means para bang float ka lang. This usually happens to cases when, unfortunately, if you die, nobody knows that you have so much money or a few or many. They cannot withdraw it. So what happens to the bank? It goes, if there's no movement in your savings account, for example, for many years no, because of banking law, nagiging dormant yung account. Even you don't have to die. You can be alive. You can be living already abroad, and your money, your account is here in the Philippines, but you have not touched your money for maybe 10 years or 5 years, something like that, depending on the policy of the bank. The money can become dormant, and by the time you want to withdraw it, it's gone. Sad to say, in some cases of people who are, let's say, in their senior years na, and they are now depending on the pension, just because that person has aged na, let's say umabot na siya ng mga 90 years old, no longer capable to go to the SSS office to personally do a face-to-face. Hey, I'm still alive. I still want to continue receiving my pension. So there are cases like that na this senior will just be surprised that he cannot withdraw anymore from from her ATM because the bank decided to close the account. So those are the painful lessons.
I'm curious about the money in limbo term. Is that your own term or it really exists in finance world?
The term money in limbo came from an article that I read many years ago. I remember one of the things that I like to talk about in my financial literacy education um, is the designated beneficiary. Kasi usually the designated beneficiary doesn't know he's the beneficiary or she or her, he is the beneficiary of a person. Let's say mayroon siyang life insurance, no? And the person dies, but no one knows who are the beneficiaries of this person. Probably it's just the agent who knows about it. But unfortunately, if that agent is no longer also around, so who can help the family get the money? So that's why the money becomes in limbo. It's just floating there. No one can touch it. No one has access to it. Case in point is my sister. My sister, when she died, she had a pag-ibig. She had a pag-ibig fund. Supposedly, we, the siblings, were beneficiaries. But until now, she has been dead maybe for 5, 6 years now. I still am unable to withdraw or get the money from pag-ibig because when you die, a person dies, a pag-ibig member dies, the money is supposed to go to the designated beneficiaries. Now it's the role of the designated beneficiaries to exert effort to get that money. Unfortunately, because of the so many mga compliance and mga requirements, the beneficiary is unable to successfully withdraw. So many documentation like pag-ibig would require the history of the member from the time she became an SS member or a pag-ibig member, who are the employers, how much were the contribution. What if all those employers had already ceased operation? So how can you trace back, di ba? So that's what I call money in limbo. It's just there, floating. No one's, di ba, unaccessible. Unfortunately, that's the law eh. Di ba? Ganun. Wala kang magagawa eh. Yun.
Yeah, so bali based on your experiences about money or savings and buying assets for like photography camera, what's one money mistake you made early in your career, and how did you recover from it?
You know, as people of the younger generations, usually when you're fresh out of school, no ba, you will be swarmed with classmates who will introduce you to, let's say, the uh, networking business. Sabi nga, network marketing, ganyan, di ba? Because usually network marketing companies would target them as the first so-called entrepreneurs, di ba? Sabi, oh, come and join us, you'll make money, nakaka-encourage yun. So, there's nothing wrong with network marketing companies. I've joined maybe countless of them. I've even actually lost count. But these network marketing companies usually, unfortunately, also do not last long. Just like the bank, di ba? Either they're taken over, but in the case of network marketing companies, especially those that are selling products made from overseas, they're subject to foreign exchange climate, di ba? So maybe when the time we joined them, the business was okay because the foreign exchange was still low. But eventually, because of the changes and the movement in the financial industry, the foreign exchange becomes so prohibitive. So what happens now? The product prices are also raised up. And eventually, members fade away because they can no longer afford the price increases. It continues to happen if you to to existing network marketing companies. They're so dependent on the foreign exchange. Once there's a surge, it goes up. They also raise their prices. That's the unfortunately investment gun yun di ba? And even though you're just a user, you say, oh, I'm not going to do the business, I'll just be a user. The fact is that you are purchasing an item that you can no longer afford, makes it sayang, di ba? The product is good, it's beneficial to your health, you actually benefit from it, but you can no longer afford it. That's the reality sa mga investment. So you now look for alternative like maybe stocks. Now, very hot thing among the insurance, life insurance people is yung VUL, di ba? They promise the 3-in-1 packages, ganon. Which again, you should be careful. This is what made me now appreciate financial planning. Because sa VUL, if you're familiar with VUL, variable unit, ano ba? Universal life plan, it's a 3-in-1 insurance package. Basically, it's insurance with savings and investment platform. Now, if you are not familiar with that, then you will need a financial planner or financial advisor to teach you how to appreciate that. Otherwise, you might end up blaming the agent for selling it to you and because you did not understand what it is. That's why in the life industry, they now require, or at least they encourage insurance agents to take up courses like sa RFP, become a financial planner, so that you can be you have more value to your clients.
So, when you joined networking, naglabas ba kayo ng money, like out of pocket to be a member of that networking?
Actually, when you join a network marketing company, they have several packages di ba? Nakaka-entice yung malaking amount, di ba? Hoping that you'll get a windfall. There's nothing wrong with that naman, but again, I go back to the price. Eventually, it's the product, the cost of the product that you are now introducing or selling that has become kind of prohibitive. So that is, I think, what's killing the industry, the prices. And also the BIR regulation, taxation. Because before, when you are a network marketer, you're not required by the BIR to produce official receipts, to print booklets. In fact, the first time that the BIR introduced the requirement of network marketers, even writers, freelance writer, I was a journalist before, we were required to issue official receipts. Imagine, just take my case. I'm a journalist actually. I'm a retired newspaper editor. So when I retired, I took some writing jobs, freelancing. And guess what? I'm required to issue official receipt to the person who asked me to write. And the worst part there is when you applied, at that time, when I applied for a printed copy of an official receipt, we were required to produce a notebook wherein you will require your client to log in. Like for example, today we're meeting and then you commissioned me for a writing job. So during this meeting, I have to write the date that we met, who you are, and how much are you paying me. I have to keep a book on that and show it to the BIR that I actually am doing some transaction, and then they would tax me for that. They did that for doctors also, aside from writers. So, yun yung mga hassle doon di ba? The government regulations, the compliant requirement are the ones, are some of the things that is killing the momentum or the appetite to do financial, uh, to plan your finances well. Nasisira eh. Kasi I think you say, I'm okay na, no? Now I'll go into business. Okay, are you ready to deal with these permits? Are you ready to deal with this showing, having your clients fill up a logbook? And then when auditing day comes, the BRI will say, take a look at it. Hey, why are you charging this? How come you're undercharging this? Of course, no one's doing that, no. But during those early days, you're required to do that. Eh.
So how did you recover from it? Did you just accept the reality?
Now, I do not, what I do now is I do barter. Going back to my early days of working with NGOs and foundation, work for food. So, because in that case, then I don't have to issue you any receipt. You can just, maybe I can just um, sign a voucher, a petty cash voucher. You see some companies kasi they have parang petty cash fund din, di ba? Wherein you're not really required to issue receipts na, especially if it's a very small amount. So, ganun na lang, barter na lang. Sige. Work for food. Of course, not free services. Kailangan may kapalit. Ganun.
I
It
see.
could be an item in exchange for work or your labor in exchange for food. Yung mga ganon.
So, since you experienced being a journalist, a photographer, an NGO
Work.
employee,
Oo,
yeah,
NGO employee.
have you ever tried to invest to something? Like, have you ever made an investment that didn't go as planned? Or also, what did you learn from it?
Wait, no nga, investment, in this case, when we talk of investment in business, that was the network marketing business, no? Which now I've stopped doing. Right now, it's more of just consultancy. I'm now retired in my retirement age, so less na yung stress, less of dealing with the government bureaucracies, yung red tape, yun. At least medyo laid back na.
So, yung last investment mo is yung networking.
Yeah, that was the biggest investment were in those several network marketing companies.
Okay.
Na maganda sana eh. Unfortunately, hindi na affordable eh. Yung ganun.
Okay. So, I just realized na since you experience a lot of job, you're exposed to different financial jobs. How did you discover RFP?
I learned about RFP from one of our RFP speakers here, no. But it started when I was at that time selling insurance. I was selling life insurance also before. I had a prospect. He was about maybe in his early 20s, fresh out of college and doing great, no. So I had an appointment with him. I went to check out his office. Okay naman. So a very good prospect. And then he turned me away. Sabi niya, "Why are you turning me away? Is it because of the product that you don't like? You're not sold to the idea of having a life insurance policy?" Sabi niya, "No, it's not that. I already have an advisor." He said, "My advisor is also my church mate who happens to also be an RFP." Sabi niya, he is an RFP guy. So RFP, sino kaya yon? Of course, I know who he is. No? I don't know if I don't need to mention, but he is one of the founders of RFP Philippines. No, one of the regular speakers and lecturers. So that was my first encounter of RFP. And then the second time, I was presenting to a manpower agency company sending seafarers abroad. So during that time, I was given an opportunity to observe how a family financial planning seminar is conducted in their company. And that time, again, one of the speakers there is from an RFP who is a seafarer. So, nakaka-relate siya. No? So, and he was my seatmate. So, we were talking. He said, sabi niya, he asked me if I am a registered financial planner also because I was also observing and doing financial talks, di ba? So, sabi ko, no, I'm not. I'm not I'm just a life insurance agent. No, ganon. Sabi niya, why don't you join us? Why don't you join the Registered Financial Planner Philippines? Sabi ko, maybe later. But my first goal right now is to document my financial literacy education journey and maybe eventually come out with a book because I'm a writer. Basically, I'm a writer. I'm not a salesman. So my direction is towards writing. If not writing articles for the newspaper, maybe writing a book. And he has a book na. He has published his first RFP related book. And he encouraged me to do that. And and so I enrolled in one of the programs of RFP maybe more than 10 years ago. Ano.
What motivates you to join RFP? Like, ever since you met that guy, may pumasok ba sa isip mo na, baka magamit ko to sa ganito, ganyan. That's why you enrolled or joined RFP?
One was to go back to the first client, the young guy, to one day when I go back to him and maybe meet him again, if God wills it that I would meet him again, I would tell him, look, I am also an RFP now. Will you be interested in my services? Of course, I know the answer would be no, but at least he knows that I'm on that big league na. During that time, small fish ako eh. Sino ba ako, di ba? I'm just a life insurance agent trying to make money of a sale. I'm not with the big league. So I considered RFP to be a prestigious organization. When you are a member of that, especially a graduate pa at that, no? A graduate and a member, it adds credibility eh. Meron kang pogi points, di ba?
Okay. So, ever since nung naging RFP member ka, during your rookie days or fresher days as a RFP member and until now, how did you use your influence to approach other people to join RFP rin?
I wish I could I had that influence, no? But unfortunately, my goal at that time first was to produce the book sana, di ba? Because that was a second influence, and di ba? I was encouraged. And then I said, maybe yeah, I'll write my book one day. In fact, I already have a title for the book, eh, di ba? And what the book will be all about, di ba? But I did not pursue that. It's still floating there. Like I said, money in limbo, nandiyan lang yan. But maybe one day I'll get to write it. But unfortunately, my health told on me, di ba? And so I have to set aside all those ambitions, take a rest na lang muna. And at that time also, one of my goal was to go up on stage in one of the RFP financial seminars, di ba? Not just doing the speaker, the lecturing in the RFP office, but actually on stage. So, cut short na lang yan. But I did get to be an RFP resource person once in a while during the old days dito sa office ng RFP. I got the chance to at least share some of what I know to mga aspiring financial planners, prospect RFP members. So that's how far I got. One of the resource persons here at the office.
Since when kayo naging part ng RFP, if I may ask?
RFP. Nasa 2016 yata ako. 2014.
Okay, so
Oh,
over 10
10 years
years.
na. 10, yeah,
So
2014.
for 10 years na yun, you use your platform to become a resource speaker during RFP webinars,
Alam mo, minsan
seminars.
nagpipresenta ka pero walang walang naniniwala pa sa iyo. That's a reality, 'di ba? Not all of us, even though how hard we try to present ourselves, hindi pa rin tayo malayo pa rin tayo sa big league, mga big names, 'di ba? So, wala naman ako I am not in that I am not in that framework uh, replacing the stars at RFP. I just want to be able to share what I know. Kaya privately, that's what I do na lang. I'm not pushing myself, presenting myself to companies or organizations. Hey, hire me or get me as a speaker. Out na yun. So I settled just for mga ganyan, one-on-one conversations. Ganun.
So every time you do resource speaking, what do you usually talk about? Is it about more on financial planning or is there anything na
Sa
dinidiscuss?
financial planning kasi, we have many components, di ba? In financial planning, you have insurance, you have taxation, you have retirement planning, mga ganyan, di ba? What I love most to talk about is legacy planning, retirement planning and legacy planning.
But those people or yung audience mo ba, do they reach out to you to know more about?
Hindi pa nila na-appreciate ang value ng retirement planning until the day that they become old or they lose a job that they realize, hey, I should have pala prepared a fund. No? Meron kasi there was one program that I did. It's about retirement planning, no? May cycle yun eh. The client was a government organization. So many of them were in that age of pre-retirement na, nasa late 50s, going 60s. So sooner or later, they will have to retire. But the reality with that government organization is it can be dissolved anytime. So I told them, why do you want to make a career working for this organization until you retire at age 60 or 65 when you are not certain that that organization will even last for another year? Kasi with one presidential executive order, that organization can be dissolved. And it did not get, it's still around, but it was downsized. So a lot of the government officers there were lost their job. They become biglang nag-retire, di ba? It's what's happening in the US right now, di ba? About these mga government employees na pinapa-force na mag-retire or being fired. So, these days, tenancy, loyalty is not something that you should take into mind when you work. Kasi anytime, that company, like in this case, sabi ko nga, mga banks na before, di ba? Many banks either got, they were closed, they got merged, they got acquired. So what happened to those who were employees then? Nagkakaroon ng mga redundancy, di ba? So before they knew it, naparetire na sila ng di oras, di ba? So, there was this joke that there's this man who pretended he was still working. So every day he would still go to work in his yung parang barong or polo, and the wife did not know that wala na pala siyang trabaho. He just want to pretend that I am still okay, I can still provide for my family. So what he was doing, he was actually just going to coffee shops, probably looking for a job, being interviewed, but not telling the wife that he had lost his job because he had no money to show because the retirement fund or the retirement money is still being processed, diba? So he has to pretend that he still has a job. Yung mga reality of, that's why I like to talk about mga the real life situation of being retired, and then of course of losing loved ones, because when you lose loved ones, we talk about legacy, mga legacy planning.
Yeah, I think retirement is a great topic, no, about financial planning. Kasi near in the future, we'll never know what will happen to us, no? So, going back for being an RFP, since na-invite ka as a guest speaker, how has become an RFP helped you in making better investment and wealth building decisions?
Ano, well, because you appreciate now financial planning, as a that is what distinguishes or separates registered financial planner from an insurance agent na describing themselves as financial planners eh. Because usually the goal of the insurance agent cum financial planner is selling. Yun pa rin ang goal niya eh. To earn money from the product or the policy he or she sells. But for me, for a true registered financial planner has no company that he's attached to. He detaches himself from that company. And that's what I did. Because here at the RFP, we have a manual eh. Parang it is encouraged that when you become a member and you hold the distinction of having RFP initial after your name, it means you're neutral. You're not representing one entity or one insurance company or one HMO or one bank. You are all encompassing. Mas ano ka, wider ka, mas neutral ka. And I guess that's how you should view it eh.
So for that label na parang neutral or balance, um, are you introducing yourself to other people na you're part of RFP?
I usually say that this is what I do. I do financial planning. But if you want this particular company, I can introduce you because I have friends there, eh, di ba? Now, it's up to you if you want to buy from that company or not. At least you have an option. The bottom line there is education eh. That the person, like, for example na lang, let's go back to VUL, the VUL product. It's very generic. It's many life insurance company offer that. They just have variations. Di ba? So, whether you go for A, B, C, D, whatever, doesn't matter. What is important is you understood the product that you have and how you will benefit from that. But more than that, since it is a insurance with savings, with investment platform, all the more you need a financial planner to advise you properly. Because you don't have the time eh, to educate yourself eh, in investment, in savings. Eh. You need someone who can just give you an overview. Oh, the rates are up to date, the exchange rates are going down, or the interest rate are going up, so that the person can decide whether he wants to continue with his funds to purchase more or to withdraw. Advisor ka na doon eh. The product is generic.
Do you have specific clients ba in teaching financial planning? Or you just reach out
Now,
to specific person?
since I'm now on my retirement retirement days, na lang, reaching out na lang. But not exerting any effort to present. Yeah.
But you're introducing yourself to them na
This is
they
what I can do.
reach out to
You
you.
can. This is what I know. I can help you with that. If you need advice, just let me know. But as a not really as a full-time profession anymore.
Okay.
Advisory na lang ganun.
So for being an over 10 years RFP member, what is the most valuable lesson that you learned from this program?
It is a good program. Be proud of being a registered financial planner. Whether you reach your goal in terms of financial goal or whatever, the fact that you have a base, a wealth of knowledge that you can share is something that you should be proud of, because not everyone has taken the time and effort and resources to master the profession, eh. If you can call that a profession. Kaya nga sabi ko, if you, like here at RFP, if you have an RFP initial, stand out ka, you're proud of it, eh. Kasi nag-exert ka ng effort, eh. You really spend time, you know. Rainy days, there's a storm. Sometimes the courses here are still, ano, di ba? The show must go on. So you come, you attend, ganun.
It's very interesting kasi, so over 10 years, how have you applied those in your own financial journey? Kasi you mentioned a while ago na you're sharing knowledge to other people, you're invited to be a guest speaker. How about on your own financial journey?
Financial journey ko ngayon is, I'm back to what I started doing before, bartering. Not so much on the holding money or having a bank account that's basta meron ka lang bank account that has enough for you to survive on, okay na yun. But as you grow old kasi, what you're concerned now is producing or raising money as your medical fund. That is, I think, very important when you start young, eh. Usually kasi when you start young, your financial journey is for yourself, eh. You save for yourself, you invest for yourself, but eventually because of the milestone in life, maybe you get married, you go abroad, for whatever reason, milestones in your life. And one of the milestones that is often not in the list of milestones of financial planning is sickness. What if you get sick? And one day, we never know, di ba, when you will get sick. And you are not prepared. And you're just doing your financial planning on your own. You're not doing family financial fund build up. And when you get sick, it is the family fund, family medical fund that will actually save you. Because on your own, you're spending it for yourself, eh. And probably you say, oh, I bought already an HMO, I have a medical insurance plan. But again, HMO and medical insurance plan are no guarantee that when you get sick and the day comes that you need them, it's gone. Again, citing my own personal experience on HMO and medical insurance. Last September, I was diagnosed with cancer. So I'm a cancer survivor now. And God wills that I live up to this day. So I'm on my second life. When it was an emergency surgery that had to be done. So I was sick. I visited. I had an appointment with a colonoscopy doctor. And when the doctor looked at my medical results, she was surprised. She immediately called her secretary to get a wheelchair and wheel me to the emergency room and advised me not to go home. So I was confident. Sabi ko, sige, no problem. I can just stay here overnight, have a thorough check-up, go to the ER, and have all the tests done. Because I was confident, I have an insurance plan. I had an HMO. And lo and behold, that insurance company, a few months earlier, had just closed. And it's now under receivership under the insurance commission. And I have two cards. I have two HMO cards of that I could use during that time. But I could no longer use that. So they said, do you have another card? Yes, I have another card. Back up, di ba? Because you're planning for your, di ba? Emergency, di ba? That's why you get insurance for those emergencies. I have another card. Oh, that's good. It's a medical insurance card for reimbursement. But I did not renew. Just a month ago, I should have renewed it, but I did not renew. Why? Because that medical insurance company, for citing inflation, medical high cost of medical medicine and the whole works, raise the premium. Which I said, teka na. Since I have 2 cards earlier, di ba, the two cards of those that went bankrupt, okay lang. I don't have to renew my current medical insurance card. So I didn't renew. So there you go. You have now 3 cards that you can you're paying before, but you can no longer use. So I have another one, a prepaid card. This prepaid card is for emergency, up to 50,000 expense during ER. So and then I was admitted because I was able to show that prepaid card for a 50,000 emergency, diba? And then towards the afternoon, I was told, "Sir, we have to admit you as an inpatient." Why? Because it's really very bad. You have to undergo surgery immediately. Ganyan ba? Okay, sige. No problem. Di ba? Sabi niya, good, we will deduct it, yung expense mo for the day using your emergency prepaid card. Guess what? When the bill was to be settled, that 50,000 emergency fund was not honored. So there goes down the medical fund. You now incur millions because none of these 3 cards are working. That's why I say na it's very important during the retirement planning process, you also include medical fund planning. And always monitor the company that is selling you that product. Yun. Again, you never know, baka may mag-bankrupt na pa. Yun pa lang, nag-bankrupt na ngayong una under Insurance Commission Receivership ngayon. Yung isa naman, it raised its high premium too high that you can no longer afford it. Yun. And then one naman, now, which is very popular among mga HMO companies, they will sell you prepaid cards. But the prepaid card is only good for 1 year. Renewable yan, di ba? Only to know that it will not be honored pala at the end of the day.
So what did you do during that situation since it's not accepted?
God is good. God will take care of everything. That's why it's very important as part of your financial planning journey, you build a network of friends, not network of businesses. Because these businesses can close shop anytime. But if you have a network of friends, during the time of emergency, they will be there with you. They will be true friends. Maski na small amount lang. Kaya nga, di ba, when a person dies, meron nag-aambag-ambag, meron naglalamay, and then meron magko-contribute. Because during that time, when you need it, they are there. So yun, a lesson there is also appreciate your friends. Don't lose them. Don't burn bridges with them. You never know. One day, they will need you. Yes, go for them. Go to them. Help them. Don't ask. If they say they don't have money to pay for you, okay lang. Exchange your time. That is ready. Para bang bartered mo na. You bartered your time to be with them, to help that person.
So as a financial planner, your current situation right now, since you mentioned that you're a cancer survivor, do you already have an emergency fund, medical fund separated?
Well, the funds is the savings fund is dwindling, of course, diba? So I guess I have to get out of my retirement and start charging people again and start working and which I am doing now. No, I've returned to photography, and hopefully, like what I did before, no, in the old days, commission lang, kaunti lang, every centavo will matter. Yeah.
So before we wrap things up, do you have a specific message to, I don't know, Gen Z, to any ages of people on how to, how to save, how to become responsible financial
Regardless
planning?
of age, whether you're you're still in school, in grade school, in high school, in college, so regardless of age, regardless of generation, appreciate life. Life is your financial journey is part of your life, eh. 'Di ba? We survive, unfortunately, uh, may economics, eh. Our life is parang may economics, eh. You trade your time for something, 'di ba? So that's business, 'di ba? That's financial journey. Basta appreciate life. God will take care of it. Build friends. Of course, having a strong foundation in faith is very important. Eh. At the end of the day, it is what will save you, di ba?
So you're returned in photography.
I'm just well, right now I'm getting to take pictures from cameras that I don't own. So malaking ano na, that's also a big savings. Imagine if I'm going to buy an expensive camera phone. It will cost me, let's say, maybe more than 50,000. But since I'm doing product reviews, so I get to take pictures for free. So I test the unit, take good pictures, and then maybe for 3 months I have that phone with me, ganon. So eventually someone will appreciate the work I do and will commission me, yung mga ganon. If not commission, maybe do an art, a photo show or a workshop, and that then earn money from it na. Again, back to education. Kasi if you have gathered enough or built enough portfolio, it makes you credible naman. This guy can actually take good pictures. He has good composition, good subjects. I want to learn from that person. So it's very much like RFP, di ba? I want to learn financial planning from that RFP guy because that guy has experience, he has wisdom, he has something that I can take home with me, you know.
You got really inspired from that guy who motivated you to join
Yeah, I
RFP.
got challenged actually
Yeah.
by that guy who told me that I don't want you. You're who are you? I'd rather prefer my mentor, my church mate who is an RFP guy. So, talaga, sige, okay, I'll take the challenge. And I became an RFP.
Do you want to share something else about being an RFP member?
My ano is that the organization no RFP will live long, last long. There'll be new generation of leaders under managing RFP soon because kami mga ano na kami, we're now in the in the senior years, no. Eventually new fresh bloods, new RFP uh, professionals should take over, and may RFP be, you know, not one of the organizations that one day will just disappear. May it last forever.
All right, so that's it. Thank you so much for your inspiring and motivational stories, Mr. Edison. Would you like to promote your? Do you have a specific Facebook page on your pictures where we can write?
I don't really have any, but I did start a podcast before, no, but I have to go back to that. It's called Be Essential.
Be
Be
essential.
Essential. This podcast, I had started it during the pandemic, during the COVID days. Inspired again by an RFP Zoom session, because in one of those RFP sessions that we had during the pandemic, we talk about mga surveys, results of surveys, what people felt they would do during when the pandemic is already lifted, diba? When things go back to normal. So there were a lot of things there that were listed there. So I took it off from there. Be essential. What are the essential things that we must do now that things are back to normal? Yung mga ganon. So yeah, the tagline there is be essential for living matters.
Okay.
Masarap mabuhay, di ba?
Yeah, tama naman. So that's it. Thank you so much for being our very first guest, Mr. Edison. And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you love diving into money stories as much as we do, make sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, or visit our official website at rfp.ph for more financial insights. Until next time, keep chasing those money moves.